It would be incredibly boring if cars just worked all the time. And luckily this car isn't boring, because it doesn't work. Again. So yes, it's being a little bit tricky. I thought this morning perhaps it was running a bit lean because we are now in winter and I've not changed the mixture from summer to winter, so thought maybe it was a bit lean, had a bit of a stumble and a little bit of a backfire at the lights. But then I came over and adjusted the mixture and richened it up a little bit, and then I lost what I think is 2 cylinders. No good. Bit of black smoke as well. This car. The gift that keeps on giving. Sounds pretty rough. Sounds like it wants to backfire. Smells very fuely. Just as I thought we had this car sorted. I guess these cars are never really sorted, are they? Just gotta make it. Another 10 meters. Oh gosh. Somehow we've made it home. So we're going to do a little experiment now just to check that that is actually the case. Oh, dog. Geez, yep. All right, let's do a little test here. Okay, so that cylinder's working. And, okay, so those 2 cylinders are working. So I suspect we may only have 1 cylinder that's not cylindering. Let's just go. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. Okay, it's not happy, so these 2 cylinders are good. Let's try this one here. Yep, no, that one's still good. And last cylinder over here. No difference. All right, so it's this little sucker here that is not firing. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap the 2 leads around and see if it's the leads. Hopefully it is. That would be a very easy fix. My luck, it probably won't be, but we'll find out. So we're going to swap the leads around and find out if that is the problem. All right, now let's see if that has made any difference. Let's see if okay, well, it's not the lead. We've worked that much out so far. All right, well, it may be the spark plug. It may be the valves. It may be that that cylinder is just dead. Unfortunately, this car did have lowish compression when I bought it. I am trying to stay optimistic and hope it's nothing to do with the compression and it's not an engine rebuild job. So we're good, probably. All right, so I have a theory. I think I know what the issue is, and I believe it's the valves. What happens with these old Volkswagen engines, over time, the valves get tight. What that means is basically the valve isn't closing properly, therefore we're not getting any compression in the cylinder. Every combustion engine has valves, and what they do is let the air into the engine for the combustion cycle and then let the exhaust out. The way it works on these air-cooled Volkswagen engines is with push rods. So there are these two little rockers that push the valves in and out just like that. And there's a tiny, tiny clearance in between that rocker and the valve. And if that clearance isn't quite right, in this case, if it's tight, then what that means is that the valve isn't fully closing, and therefore no combustion can be made because there's no compression, which I think is what is happening over there on cylinder number 2. So we're going to find that out. So to adjust the valves, we need each cylinder to be at top dead center. That means it's right at the top of the stroke and both valves should be closed. To do that, I'm going to pop off the distributor cap. Then we need to rotate the engine using this big pulley here to top dead center, which is the split in the case, and there's a little notch on this big pulley here. But normally to do that job, you would get a big spanner onto this nut here to turn the engine. However, I don't have a spanner that's big enough to do that. So we're going to do a little bit of a dodgy to turn the engine over, but it'll be fine. Oh. Okay, nearly there. And there we go. So as you can see, this is the top dead center mark and it is in line with the split in the case. We can also verify that it's pointing to cylinder number 1 here on the distributor. So next step is to get underneath the car and pop off the rocker cover, which are the red things right there. Before we get under the car, I just want to show you the measurements that we're talking about here. It is, to the naked eye, minute. Can you even see that? See that blade there? Right there. This is 0.15 of a millimeter, and that gap, that distance, is the difference between this engine running well and running the way it is. So what we're going to do is get underneath and see if we can fit this in between the rocker and the top of the valve. And if not, that's our problem. And I'm hoping that's our problem because it's, touch wood, a relatively easy fix. I've probably just jinxed it, but let's find out, shall we? Other tools you need for this job are a flathead screwdriver and a 13mm ring spanner, which I'll show you what to do with those once we get under there. And it's probably definitely easier to jack up the car, but I'm going to be lazy and try and do it without. It's definitely going to make my life harder, but whatever. Okay, there we go. Springs off. Now we pop. Ta-da, there we go. These are our valves. So these here, these are the rockers, and the little push rods are just behind there. This is the cylinder that's a problem, but we're going to check all the cylinders while we're here. Even though this is cylinder number 2, that's the problem one, but we're going to do all of them. So this is cylinder number 1. Let's get that checked. Let's just check that. I don't know if you can hear that, but that slight tapping is a good thing. That means that there is a gap between it, but we're going to check it. So let's get to that. Ta-da! There is our feeler gauge, and what we're going to do is nice and flat, try and get it in between the valves. Perfect. You see that? It's coming straight through with a little bit of drag. It almost feels kind of like a magnet kind of tension. Not too much. So we know that one is good. This is the intake. This is the exhaust. Exhaust is good on cylinder number 1. Let's try the intake. Is also good. Now we have to turn the engine to cylinder number 2, this bad boy, because that's our trouble one. And if we can't get the feeler gauge in between those valves, then we know that's the problem. Keep your fingers crossed, we're going to need it. So now we turn the engine 180 degrees anti-clockwise, and that should get us to cylinder 2. There's definitely compression in this engine, which is a good thing. That should be top dead center of cylinder number 2. So let's go have a look. We can see that cylinder 1 has now moved, or I don't know if you can see it, but cylinder 1 has now moved and is compressing the valve here. So let's just see. Okay. There is a bit of movement, but not much. So let's get our feeler gauge. Oh, okay, so straight away I can say that that one is definitely too tight, And the other one is not bad. Okay, that one is, it's not bad. Not bad. All right, what we need is our 13mm spanner on the nut on the end. Okay, there we go. So we've loosened that nut. Bring that out. So much better than it was before. Great, let's just check the other valve. Let's just go up this way, shall we? This is the way. Okay, there we go. Nice. Nice. That is beautiful and smooth, and this one is also beautiful and smooth. Let's put this cover back on and go again. All right. Lovely. Job well done. Now we'll check the other side and then we'll see if it works. So we've got an issue that means this job isn't going to be done today, as much as I really wanted it to, and we were so close. The final cylinder. What's happened is this nut, you can probably barely see it, the threads right at the end of the nut are absolutely cooked. That's not from my doing, I just want to make that plain. Whoever has been in here before has had a crack, and anyway, you can see that it screws onto the tappet just like that, and then it gets to a point where it just meets the threads and binds up and won't go any further than that. So that means I need to find a new nut. So I'll have to try my luck with finding a nut tomorrow, hopefully. Pray for me, because then we can get this car done and hopefully running again. I'm saying hopefully a lot. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope that's needed with these cars, but that's okay because I have hope in my heart, I think. The hope in my heart has paid off, and I have a new nut and, as a bonus, a whole new screw. Now, it did take me a few weeks to find it. I wasn't going to buy just a nut online because the shipping cost was 15 times the cost of the nut, and trying to find it locally was a little harder than I was initially expecting. Luckily for me, there is a very nice air-cooled engine builder who lives not too far from here, who decided to donate this to the cause. So now we're going to whack it into the car and see if it works, because it might not. I don't really know. I'm not a mechanic, I'm just a knob. So let's find out, together. The old adjuster screw is out. Put the new one in. Okay, so the valves have now been adjusted. It took way longer than it should have, but the job is done now. So we're gonna find out if I am a knob. I did also off camera take the spark plugs out, give them a quick clean and put them back in again. But this is the moment of truth. Let's do it. It actually works. It's running. All 4 cylinders are running. And yes, I am aware that it could well have been the spark plugs this whole time, but the valves did need adjusting, so the job needed to be done. That's what I'm going to keep telling myself. And it's done now anyway. The car works. Whether it was the valves, whether it was the spark plugs, doesn't matter. Although we are running on 4 cylinders, it doesn't sound particularly happy and it does smell very fuely, so there are going to be some more adjustments that need to be made, but for the time being, I'm declaring that we are so back. So anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe. There's going to be more stuff with this in the future, I'm sure. So yeah, we'll catch you next time.